Reserve time. MVP Phoenix's turn to bat. Radiant team bat. MVP Phoenix's turn to bat. 10 seconds remaining.
Hello and welcome to the I-League Season 2 Southeast Asian qualifiers here on Netflix TV2. I'm Grandis V, and I'm going to be casting here a best of three between MVP Phoenix and Arcanys Gaming. As far as both of these teams are concerned, I don't get the pleasure of casting them very often, but this should be a really good game. I have watched them a handful of times, so I don't really have the best of knowledge about their individual play, but maybe Arcanys slightly favored, maybe Phoenix slightly favored, but this should be a pretty high-level game. Very fun to watch. Either way, we do have a draft ahead of us. We're going to start things off for Arcanys with a tight under first pick. The big surprises there. Eventual Spirit first pick for MVP Phoenix. They'll fold things up with the Q for them. Already a decent amount of pushing power coming out from both of these heroes. Between the Vengeance Aura and the Liquid Fire, they can take structures very early and often. And have a decent amount of lockdown between them. Definitely a solid opener. And if MVP Phoenix are so inclined to ranged heroes, this could be a decent draw ranger game if they pick up the Visage and Dro come the second stage. Arcanys really haven't shown anything off. With this tight under first pick, it's a pretty standard hero all around that you can't really complain much about. Ravage is always going to be a really good spell to have at your disposal. Gosh, it's a nice utility there. You can always run those ancients even if you have a bad laning stage. So tight under really can't go wrong with that hero pretty much ever. I quite like it. For now, Arcanys are taking their time with the second pick, and rightfully so. There is still plenty of really good heroes left in the pool, especially after we see Slark being banned out in the first stage. Although he's a really good hero, don't get me wrong. This is going to leave effectively every support under the sun available for both of these teams. Scout Mage and Ogre Giant are there. If Arcanys want either one of them, I think Ogre is probably the safer of the two, or at least better of the two. I quite like Mason Ogre Magi. But hopefully they're going to bring something interesting to the table. I do like it when teams try to experiment a bit, when it comes to the draft especially. So, it is going to be the Ogre, so no big surprises. There's really not much else to talk about. Yeah, pretty much. Right now, the Ogre Magi is going to be offering them some nice CC between the Fire Blast as well as the Ignite. You can play really aggressive early on, or you can just bully out the offlaner. Just Fire Blast him, smack him, especially if you start with Beams first. That club definitely can hurt quite a bit. Yeah, I don't think that either team are going to be upset with what they've gotten in this first stage of the picks. They both have some really solid ways to start out the game, but then again, they don't really show anything as to what their actual direction is going to be. Arcanys could go for a really heavy investment into the mid-game team fight, just work around this Ravage and get this huge wombo combo going. Or they could go incredibly impressive early on, fall back on the tide of the Ravage to win those team fights into pushing towers. Working off the Ogre Giant is roaming combination, or you can take this incredibly late. Ravage never really falls off, even with BKBs are involved. It might make the timing for the Ravage a little bit better, but it's still a little bit worse. But it's still going to be an amazing spell at your disposal, and they can also rely on Fire Blast, or not Fire Blast, excuse me, Bloodblast from the Ogre Giant, which would be really nice for them. Emperor Spirit and Witch Doctor going to be the next couple of bans, and they're pretty good ones at that. Even though there's some decent lockdown on Arcanys, it's not instant, and it's not that reliable when it comes to taking down the Emperor Spirit. Between these first two picks, I definitely can't understand them banning that out. Batrider going to be the secondary ban coming out from Arcanys. Centaur's available in the pool. As far as offlaners are concerned, that's probably the one on MVP Phoenix's mind, especially if that is a support Jakiro. It's going to be a Sky Mage ban out coming in from them, and it's a pretty good one. Would have comboed decently well with the Ogre Magi, Ancient Seal, and Fine with Fire Blast. It's quite a dirty combination, and right now it's MVP Phoenix's turn to look to flavor this draft one way or another. It's going to be a solo cast today, which is unfortunate, but I won't be able to read the chat as much as I might like to. Um, so yeah, we'll just have to see.
10 seconds remaining.
Right now, 10 seconds left on the proper pick time for MVP Phoenix as they wait for their next choice. If they want to go for a Drill Ranger, this is a okay game to go for it, but Arcanys still have plenty of picks to remedy that. Picking up a Phantom Assassin with Bloodlust backup, it would be very risky for them to do so, and I doubt it, although it is an option that they could go for. Lycanthrope also there if they really want to hammer down these towers between Liquidfire as well as the Aurora coming out for the Vengeful Spirit and Lycanthrope. Could be a pretty insane pushing combination if MVP Phoenix want to go aggressive early on. But instead it's going to be a Zeus. MVP Phoenix are going to go aggressive, but in a different fashion altogether. Once Zeus gets that maxed out lightning bolt, as well as the Thunder of God's Wrath up and running, it can be a very potent nuking power. Elder Titan has yet to be picked up or banned on either side. And it feels unlikely that our Arcanys are going to be able to go for it. Since they already have the Titan Hunter towards the off lane and Overdrive is one of their supports, that would leave them with really crowded lanes when it comes to just how many melee heroes that they have. So MVP Phoenix, if they want it, they'll have that at their disposal.
5 seconds remaining.
Still a lot of lane flexibility coming in from MVP Phoenix. There's no clear option as to what they really want to go for. Arcanys taking their time with this next pickup for themselves. As far as heroes that are good up against Zeus, really most of them rely on items to really get up that extra gold, whether it's in the form of pipe or a BKB. And those are going to be necessary pickups for the Tide Hunter. Could be the one to pick up the pipe for their side. Let me just check if they're not actually disconnected. They are in this game and just taking their time. Reserve time ticking down. It's going to be a Raid King for them. Very interesting. Not sure if I like this choice at all for Arcanys Gaming. It's a third melee hero for them, and honestly, it's not going to be offering too much. A nice blinking initiator, and if MVP Phoenix do blow all of their spells, killing the Raid King the second time might be a little bit difficult, especially if they're low on mana on their Zeus. But still can't say that I'm the biggest of fans for this Raid King pickup. MVP Phoenix, I'd love to see them pick up something along the lines of a Timbersaw, even though it would leave them decently locked down right, relying very heavily on the magic missile and ice path of the Jakiro. That would, I don't know, just be a ridiculous amount of burst damage they could pump into the enemy team.
Reserve time.
Right now, mid Zeus still have yet to see who he's going to be laning against, and if it's a very poor matchup for the Zeus, they always have that ability to throw him in as a support. Kind of functions like a Skyrath Mage in the fact that he is going to be just zoning out the offlaner as much as he can, throw Thunderbolts, throw Arc Lightnings here and there. And it is a pretty decent way to lane him. The times that I've seen support Zeus, if your positioning is good and you're able to get up to level 7 or so at a decent time, it can be ridiculous. But MVP Phoenix, they're going to change gears entirely in the anti-mage for them. And it's a really good pick. Up against the Raid King, his ultimate's not going to be reliable anymore, especially once a Mantis Cell comes out for this anti-mage, which it very well should. The mana is just going to be drained out of the Raid King like that. There's really nothing you can do about it. And that might force Arcanys to shy away from running this Raid King as a core. Leaving them with double melee supports would be really awkward, but then again, if you have all of this farm on a core Raid King, you really need Reincarnation to actually make that hero worthwhile running, because outside of the built-in crit and the lifesteal, he's actually a pretty poor carry. Enigma's going to pick up for Arcanys Gaming, and it is going to be a farming Raid King after all. They have a lot of big teamfight ultimates. But it's going to take quite a bit of farm for them to be able to force the fights on the side of MVP Phoenix. I fear that they're just not able to get those Blink Daggers up fast enough, and that they're not able to get those kills after those Blink Dagger picks. And even worse than that, pushing it into towers. They don't really have anything great except for Eidolons for the Enigma. Yeah, not a huge fan of Arcanys Gaming, especially since MVP Phoenix just have so many ways, even through BKB, to cancel a channeling of the Black Hole. Vengeful Spirit, quite possibly one of the best, if not the best, hero at stopping Black Hole channeling, especially once you get higher levels up in the swap. Level 1 swap can get a little janky, but once you have level 11 and level 16, that's just not a reliable way to follow a fight unless it is stuck inside the Black Hole. And then again, how do Arcanys put pressure on this anti-mage early, and how do they stop and farm the anti-mage? And this game isn't going to pressure that much at all. If it is just a Titan from the offlane, anti-mage can handle that lane 1v1 very effectively. And I I don't really see how Arcanys are going to be able to do this. Phantom Assassin would be banned coming out from MVP Phoenix. They could completely surprise me and just be extremely lucky with the over, get those split daggers up fast and put the pressure on them. But it does force Arcanys into a particular style of play. They're very tied down to these ultimate cooldowns, the Black Hole and the Ravage, as well as whenever they get those blink daggers. So let's see what they're going to be able to do with this. For MVP Phoenix, we have still yet to see how they're actually going to lane these heroes. So we don't actually know what the real plan is here.
Reserve time.
But I think it's safe to assume that it is a safe lane anti-mage Mid-Zeus, maybe an off-lane Jakiro, maybe they're picking up a support, maybe they're picking up an off-laner. Right now, I think a Centaur would be pretty nice for them, but instead they go for a Juggernaut. Still very ambiguous lanes, but their pushing power is very immense. If you scratch out the Zeus and the anti-mage, my goodness, I couldn't be happier with these legs. We're going to have Heinrich Meebo. And on the Arcanys side, it should be a pleasure push. As far as heroes that you can't count out of game, Meebo is pretty high on top of my list. It might just be the X factor that Arcanys need to take out this win and put pressure on that. And you can't blink while you're netted down. Not sure exactly what was going on with that transition video. It looks like it was pretty poorly messed up. By the way, hopefully that's not too bad on the stream, and hopefully everything's going through properly. Thanks for joining us here in the I-League Season 2 Southeast Asian qualifiers. We're progressing nicely throughout this tournament. And I'm not exactly sure how many games are actually going on. I think there's just 2 series each day. When that ends, I don't know. But hopefully it doesn't end for quite some time. As we load into the game, let me go ahead and make sure everything's going okay on behind the scenes.
Prepare for battle.
We should be all good. GLHF has come out from both sides. And we'll go ahead and introduce the Radiant side. We're going to get Boombox playing on that jungling Enigma. Ogre Magi going to be played by Fried Butterfly Samibo, heading towards the mid lane, going to be played by Heinrich. And on the safe lane farming role, we are going to have Wraith being played by Mighty Savior. Towards the alpha lane, Tidehunter played by Bach. And on the dire side, we are going to have MVP Phoenix. March playing on the Zeus Anti-Mage by QO. Jakiro played by 4Av Raisin. On the Juggernaut and Keen on the Vengeful Spirit. Well, that was interesting. It looks like I may be looking for a level 1 engagement. Are they going to be able to find it? And it would be that great either way. Jakiro is currently laughing his little tails off. And, well, they are looking for a fight. Their level 1 fight is pretty decent. If they're able to connect with the Magic Missile and just run them down with the Blade Fury, it's quite a lot of damage. But I'm not sure they need to drop all 5 heroes into this jungle, but it is definitely going to secure them control over the woods that Enigma would love to be farming. Currently going to be blocking 2 of his camps. Large camp taken out by that work, whether or not that's T-Word's another story, and then they take out the small pole camp as well. Even more hate to the Enigma as they block his large camp. Currently, Enigma's jungle has 2 camps available. That's just not a happy place. If your name is Enigma, the 0-minute rune going to be sent on. My reason is going to be an invis for him, and up top Tidehunter going to get the bounty rune. He needs 1 attack from the anti-mage, but that's not going to bother him much at all. For now, we're going to see anti-mage solo in the top lane versus the Tidehunter. It's definitely something you can do. As far as melee matchups, the Tidehunter does not want to be in. Anti-mage pretty much tops the list. Just get 1 point to that mana break, and then you smack him down to oblivion. It's not going to be a fun time at all. If your name is Tidehunter. Down to the bottom lane, aggressive tri-lane coming out from MVP is pretty darn strong. If they are able to connect with Magic Missile with an Invis Rune on the bench and Mighty Savior none the wiser, they'll open up onto it pretty soon. Body blocks come out immediately. Even with that Magic Missile not leveled up, they're actually going to pull back. Mighty Savior is quite tanky, and they might have been able to save him, but honestly, I think it's worth going for that Magic Missile. They should be running with plenty of clarities between them. Actually, no, Vengeful Spirit's not sitting on any at all, so maybe just wanting to reserve that mana for a better opening, but even without them doing anything, Mighty Savior is completely zoned off the creep wave, not able to get anything. Although outside of, oh my goodness, what's going on with my last hits and denies? Interesting. Okay, that's much better. Yeah, I was very interested to see that all of the Radiant heroes were on the top of that list. That just didn't feel right. Jakiro's farming pretty freely. Raisin's throwing his sword up in the air for reasons that nobody really knows. They are able to get the D-word onto the large camp. It's a pretty standard word to place right about here. If they were able to evade even deeper in places like on that spot, maybe they would be able to stop it, but in mid, they're going to jump onto the Zeus. That's going to be our first blood. It's soon as the Meepo takes his level 3, and it's probably a move that I should have been expecting. As far as killing potential, that's probably one of the highest spots. Zeus, not a very high HP hero, and that double poof really doesn't number. Meepo, his farm is going to be a little bit delayed since he does have an Enigma farming up in the camp that he'd really like to be stacking up for himself. But getting first blood definitely a great move for the Meepo. Secure himself a regeneration room that he has picked up on one of his Meepos and send the other one back towards the base. The one going back towards base is his secondary Meepo, just getting refilled on health and HP. As far as the HMH versus Titans lane, Titans is actually doing better than I thought he would, but now that we do have mana break up for QO, eventually he'll get that ring of health. Puck isn't really going to be able to do much at all. Anchor Smash, although it's not a very high mana spell, it's still high enough to where he won't be able to cast it since he is sitting on practically no mana at all. So it should be picking up for QO quite soon. Mighty Savior has taken a bit of grass down in the bottom. If ever he comes up to the lane, there is going to be Liquid Fire awaiting him with loving arms. 2 points up in the dual breath, very aggressive start coming up from 4M. They'll put some decent damage on this tower. Trent was already up for that Jakiro. Enigma spotted out. This could be a kill on the Boombox. They look for the Blade here. Boombox is pretty fast as far as heroes are concerned, and reason actually not as fast as I thought he was. He does have that Blade Fury. He is probably going to pop it pretty soon. At the very least, they're zoning Boombox out of his jungle, and they use no mana in order to do so. They'll pop a couple of Eidolons to boot. That's one CS going their way. They'll split. They might be able to kill off one more. Reason dropping low for this needs to be careful. They do bring in fried butterflies, and if they get the stun on the Reason, he is going to fall. The Meepo help them out. For now, bottom lane's a complete success for MVP, but mid lane is going pretty much uncontested to the Meepo. There's not much Zeus can do to deny creep at all against Heinrich, and he'll be able to see us pretty freely. Although the Wrath is really going hard lighting, it's not really going to matter much. They need to do something about this Meepo, and honestly, this bench jump, although they have a lot of killing potential at those early levels with the Blade Fury and Magic Missile, we have yet to even see them cast those spells, which honestly is pretty darn surprising to me. I would have liked to see them at least attempt something. If you just sit on those spells, it's pretty much worthless. They have dropped a wave of Terry, but that's about it. This is really where these heroes excel. This Hydra still is doing incredibly well. Boombox is dropping low inside the jungle. Looks like it was tanking for a couple of his Eidolons. But he's also picked up a decent amount of farm. Arcanys, this early game is going well for them, especially since the anti-mage just gets killed by the Meepo. My goodness. Dropping low while farming that side camp. Didn't even see it coming. Honestly, probably should have been expecting that since the Overchai was farming up in the jungle, but anti-mage is farming up that low. It's just not a happy place to be. And Heinrich, he is primed to really solo out of control, taking what he can away from the enemy's side. He even completes up the full magic run up against the Zeus. You can't blame him at all. Well, he's one of his moves, finds up that large camp, but potentially looks for the anti-mage yet again. He is going to be bottling up his secondary Meepo. He has those 11 magic wand charges onto his first Meepo. They don't have around for any mana to speak of. They're going to throw a net. First one going to miss. Double move down the wave. Not much more that they can do here. His QO should be just fine, even if another net was thrown. And good news for MVP, that tier 1 tower down the bottom lane is going to fall very low to the Jakiro and his push coming up from the Liquid Fire, currently only level 2. But it's still going to be enough in order to take it down, but still this Meepo's really, really looking scary. And even the Tidehunter, he's doing a lot better in lane than I thought he would. He's not putting that much pressure on the anti-mage. He's still sitting on a moderate 23 CS, 24 CS now on the AM, but Tidehunter wasn't shut down at all, even without access to Anchor Smash. Bach was just out CSing the AM. Which is honestly surprising to me. He didn't load out with that much regen, and maybe that's why QO is struggling a little bit. The Enigma Eidolon's going to do quite a number to QO up towards the top, but the Ring of Health is going to put an end to that. What's going to break MVP out of this slump? I'm not sure. Anti-Mage will be able to blink away, but he's already dropped low enough to where it's not really attractive to go for this kill. They're bringing in Jakiro. They just want to 5-man down, push these lanes as fast as possible, and abuse Liquid Fire to its fullest. Still have yet to see the Zeus be impactful pretty much at all. All that he's really done was give first blood away the Meepo. I haven't even seen his ultimate cast or look for any rotations. And part of that too, the fact that there really hasn't been any rotations to be found. Speaking of rotations, we have a Juggernaut looking towards mid. The Blade Fury can do quite a lot of work on Heinrich, and he only has those 2 Meepos. Since he's showing hold in the lane, they can bring him down very quickly. But the tower push up towards top, they will spot out the Enigma, and Mage getting off that mana void is going to be the end of Enigma's life, who's needing to jump onto the Needle. Hydro's dropping low, but not low enough to get to the Thunderbolt, as well as Mark blinding Hydro. So just move towards the side. Nico, Hydro's going to be not really a way that they can kill. He was golfing up to them. That open wouldn't kill them either way. Nico does start out with a little bit more magic resist than other heroes, so his ultimate isn't going to be that great at killing Moth, although don't get me wrong, Zeus is just raw burst potential is more than enough to kill off Nepo later on. We're going to see Zeus actually chase down the Nepo. What was he doing? Nepo was really deep in enemy lines. It looks like he just wasn't sitting on a TP scroll right now. It kind of looks like, okay, never mind. I'm not even going to bring that up. It was looking like Nepo was going to rush towards the Boots of Travel, but now picks up the Overcloud. It is just going to be a pretty standard Aghanim Scepter rush for him. Really, that's a very important kill for MVP to be picking up, especially off the Zeus. That's a level 8 hero falling, and 2 heroes getting the experience for it. It's going to be a really big boon for them. People looking for next week. Moving down the creep. He's Thunderbolt now, so the Juggernaut is both potentially good. Magic Missile lands in the Hybrid, and he can't do anything but lock himself off. Boost is on cooldown, and he's probably going to drop. They just need a little bit more damage. Following up, looking for the net. That lands onto Reese, and now it turns with the other ones. We'll kill off the Juggernaut once the secondary Nepo is still sitting at a decent amount of HP and can't find any more. In the meantime, they've lost their Ace Mage up towards top to the Mind of Breaking. That was our first black hole being cast as well as Arcanys knocks themselves 2 kills across the map. Nepo very barely avoiding that. I'm tempted to call that one a bait, but honestly, I'm not sure if we can actually be that kind. It was still very well played by Nepo. Don't get me wrong, that was wonderful. Forev is going to Fire Blast under tower. They don't get the Great Fire Blast off onto him either. Moving forward, looking for a little bit mana burn on the Mighty Savior. He throws one of his, Great Fire Blast, and now he's going to salve up, but only for a minute. As the Fire is going to get into him, they are going to burn his mana. He's very low, but not low enough to stop him from getting the ulti off. But even dropping that cooldown at this point in the game is very significant. The Wraith King Reincarnation, these early levels, just has such a long cooldown. It's really easy to work around if you're the enemy team. Nepo's still farming up the score. His immediate impact isn't going to be felt that much until we see level 10 and then the Aghanim Scepter. That's when Nepo really starts getting those leaps in power. Tier 1 tower up towards top, going to fall in the favor of MVP. No big surprises there with the Liquid Fire as well. As Gordon is sustained through this, they're going to find themselves fairly easy tower destruction. And they're going to try to keep on doing this, but even with the tower lead over the enemy team, they're still not looking too great when it comes to the net worth graphs. 1,500 in their favor, and experience vastly in favor of Arcanys. Although that is a little misleading. It's just so high level. They're trying to drop the Zeus ultimate, killing off the Enigma on impact, just dropping him way too darn low. Zeus does do a lot of damage, and looks like he was just underestimating a little bit too much. With the health pools on Arcanys, especially the Enigma, you do have to be very careful. They did spot out the Nepo as well. Blink away in mid will keep Kyo safe from the might of Heinrich and his Nepo. 3 points up in the rear for the Fire. They're going to mop up this free wave and continue on the push. They have Healing Ward cooling down. Now Omni Slash up for a reason. They might be looking for a little bit more. That Nepo taking his level 10. Now they see the 3 Nepos on the map. They ping out for Rev. But do they really want to go for this? It looks like MVP are in position to take a fight if they really want to. No mechanism up on Blue Box or Blink Dagger on any of their heroes. Really, the Wraith King hasn't been picking up that much farm. Mighty Savior. Not really impressive on their quote-unquote core Wraith King. And that's really his fault. Just the lane's not working out for him. Hydro's going to pick himself up a regeneration rune in the meantime. Currently a one-man gang squad. If he catches a net onto the anti-mage, it might all be over for the AM. As far as the spell block, or spell shield, I should say. Levels, it's only one. That's not to be unexpected, but that's not going to be enough to save you from boost. 720 HP is going to boost through like that. And you'll have 3 nets as well. And they're going to go for it. He's able to blink out to the sideline. Looks like he can follow up with the net this time, or maybe layer them a little too much. That's pretty well played by Nepo, actually. Just based on the crew that's in the net early. Both heroes are going to be able to survive, but anti-mage is forced up the lane. Tier 1 tower up towards top is going to fall. But in return, the Tier 1 tower again dropping low. They have the Ravage drop a cooldown. They've downed themselves a he's going to fall. Jumps the Thunderbolt before he dies, but he is going to be bashed down by the Wraith King. Fire Blast over the sidelines. Black Hole solo on the mark. It's going to be the end of Zeus's life, as there's nothing he can do but burn. And he will do so. It's an easy 2-0 for Arcanys, and now they bring in Heinrich. Out of full HP, he's almost at Aghanim Scepter, just 600 gold away, and they're well on the way to a very attack for this Nepo. Getting first blood as well as 2 kills subsequently definitely helps. And now they get that Tier 1 tower. on top of it, with the Eidolon army going to work, it is going to be pretty easy for them to take this. Yeah, that's going to be it. Almost tying up our towers. There's still 1-2 runs still left in this game. It's bottom. Not looking too healthy, not looking too unhealthy. But a pretty moderate amount of HP. There's your Blink Dagger for Bach, and Ravage was not needed for that last fight. Arcanys or Prime. To look for some pretty scary engagements. Even though AM is farming okay, it's not enough. And honestly, even the Battle Fury isn't going to be an immediate turning point for MVP. As far as heroes that can farm as fast as AM, the Battle Fury Evo is pretty high up on that list. Just with the raw amount of units that he has to farm with, and how well he is at pushing up those waves, just with a double move here and there, he's trying to get that Action Scepter, which he really does, your pushing potential. And to top that all off, we have a DD in the model of Heinrich. And DD on Meepo, I think it's actually the best hero to have a DD on, bar none, since he's pretty much all about space damage. And since he has so many units to benefit from that, if you have your secondary Meepos close to you when you pop that DD, they all get the DD effect. So it's effectively like having, at this point in the game, with 3 Meepos, an extra 200 hit damage, which is pretty darn sick. They found the Raging down to the bottom of my stage. Is going to lose his reincarnation for him. They have a Blink Ravage. They will have Blink Cancer. He still gets the Ravage off onto 3, although will there be enough guarantee? And March dropping low, but not low enough. He gets the slash off, and that's going to be a difficult reason. That's coming through. Meepo looking for Blink Skin. He's trying to get out. He's going to inside the Midnight Ball doesn't really help for MVP also. Jumping in, dropping Heinrich low. It's not going to help. Well, other factor is going to be the end of the Meepo. They have a lot of experience showing the way the MVP, but he's looking out. Magic Missile, Thunderbolt, this Zeus has gone unanswered throughout this entire fight. His March is a happy Zeus. He's able to dump out his mana pool, and my goodness, it works wonders for them. MVP, that healing word also being pretty crucial. Arcanys just weren't able to do the damage, and just like that, they've taken the lead in this game. All it took was one fight. Look at that experience. Like, my goodness, that's over 4,000 with gold over 3K on top of it. A ridiculous win for them, and honestly, that shouldn't have been happening. Arcanys, when you use your Ravage, you want to be winning the team fight, but we're well on our way towards the sub-15 minute. Power Trend Skulls battle here to the end. He's going to back towards tier 1. And that's going to be it for QO, pretty much. Yeah, there you go. It's going to be completed inside the base at 13:45. Meepo has his Ags, and that's kind of nice for the Arcanys side, but without a blink on this Meepo, it's going to be a lot harder for him to actually find those jumps, unless he has the Titan to Ravage, which is still on cooldown for 70 seconds. MVP. At the drop of the hat, this game can't change, and Meepo, just based on how the hero works, can snowball the enemy. And the blue box is all about being ultimate. My goodness, hard butterfly. It's about to be fried as well, especially with the Strasony up the team. Thunderbolt, yes. The jump forward to the cycle. We're trying to put this down recently with these raid keepers. You just can't find him. Shots around the sidelines. He's going to die. Cool grab as well. Thunderbolt. Snowball now. Snowball out the cooldown. He is firmly fighting up against Rockets. The fight that he can't win directly, but now he's coming out to get the Olympian. Something for March. Every time he's going to drop QO low, but now with the Mana Void, that trophies of Meepo losing his life as well, and Anthony is able to squeak away. My goodness. This game, it was looking good for Arcanys. They were trying to take some really good fights. But just like that, 2 engagements later, it's a huge swing. Again, in the favor of MVP, another 5-man wipe. All they lost was the Vengeful Spirit this time around, and beforehand, all they lost was the Jug. And keep in mind, that's the support Juggernaut. Doesn't really matter that he dies. It looks like he's going for a 4-staff, which is a decent item to have in Juggernaut. But he's there for the healing ward and spit, nothing else. And that's perfectly acceptable. MVP looking so good. Scratch that. He actually went for the Staff of Wizardry into an Active Scepter. Also legit, I suppose. Although you're pretty used to seeing Point Booster over Club first. Now Arcanys, they have their Black Hole and their Ravage online. They really need to start turning things around with these ultimate cooldowns. There's not really much else to talk about. They need to make these work. And if they don't, they're going to be in a whole heap of trouble. This is a really crucial time for them. If they take another fight of the same caliber of those last 2 fights, they're going to be absolutely overexposed. With a Black Hole mech as well as with a Blinking Ravage, it shouldn't be the case. They still need to be careful. Right now, the Meepo is farming up. His woods are currently being farmed by the Titan turn, are actually very well boarded by MVP. If you take a look at their map vision over on the Radiant side, they actually see literally everything, which is really dangerous if your name's Meepo. They're currently stealing the whole stacks. They'll keyword a sentry, and Anthony is going to be just fine farming up inside the enemy woods. But then against those Arcanys, he has one of his little Meepo wings over inside the enemy woods, farming up, beating him down. This game has slowed down a little bit since the tier 1 towers have fallen on both sides, with the exception being that bottom tier 1, as I've mentioned earlier. But that's really the easiest thing for both of these teams to do. MVP right now are respecting the fact that they have a lot of big ultimates on the enemy side and will instead go for a Roshan since they see Arcanys on most of the map, especially inside the woods. It's being picked out a little bit, but they might just be able to take it with the medallion picked up, I presume, by the man who's going away from Terra. It's going to be a pretty secure one, and a double life now for Duo. They drop it to the that they know exactly where everybody is, and Arcanys are in a position to defend. Win on top of win for MVP. The anti-mage now is going to be working towards his next major item, and once we have that Mantis out for QO, he's going to be an absolute wrecking crew just by himself. BKB afterwards is going to be mandatory because of Eva, but they found Boombox in there. The magic missile as well as inside the macro card spin as well. Not much of a chance that you're surviving that. That's the lonely Enigma, not the greatest HP pools. There is a completed lives up on the anti-mage. He's hardly ever going to need to go back to base. Even though he is incredibly low right now, even if somebody kills him, that's just going to be the Aegis. Although you probably don't want to be giving that one up, he should be able to blink out the second time around. Unless Vivo has an immaculate net, which is definitely a possibility. Arcanys put some pressure on the tier 2 tower with the healing ward and the liquid fire again. It doesn't look like Arcanys really wants to contest this wholeheartedly. Meepo is still pushing top and bottom at the same time because he is Meepo. He can't do that. Getting back to 0-2 tower is dropping low. Now it's Fire. It looks like MVP might just have to concede the denial, and it looks like they will do so. A couple of arc lightning flying through. Jakiro looks for last tip, but not going to find it. But even so, it's map control falling around. Arcanys that they desperately need. Right now, MVP have better vision and control over the enemy jungle than Arcanys do. As far as their farm is concerned, on their supporting cast, Agam Scepter is still getting pretty close for reason. He's 800 gold off of that one. Boost travel not picked about Meepo. I quite like this build from him, especially based on how the game is going. MVP are looking to 5-man barrel down those lanes. And Mage, although he's a pretty darn scary hero, he's not scary enough to take out the Meepo solo. So he is going to be able to split push very effectively with this. Akin to the Tinker, that is 4 boots travel that you can actually use to get around the map with Poof. An incredibly fast foot pusher, an incredibly good one after that. So we'll have to see if he's going to be able to utilize that effectively. But it's also going to delay his Blink Dagger and ability to actually initiate the fights. They are very much relying on their Time Hunter to pull them back into this game. MVP with just better control all around. Heinrich was looking for that gap. For some reason, the creeps actually aggroed in there, so those creeps actually didn't do any damage. So it's going to slow down a little bit, but worst case scenario, it takes Meepo 3 seconds to get out to safety with the boots and travel. Just boot travel 1 back in, wait half a second, and then poof all of them out. 1.5 seconds, I should say. Yeah, game is slowed down. But honestly, I think that favors MVP, and they're looking to get themselves out of this slump anyway with their 4 more aggressive heroes, just like the anti-mage farm in the meantime. There's no reason to really get out of this anti-mage just farming up like a madman. Although not as fast as Meepo, it's pretty darn close. They look up towards top, but there's nobody to be found. Currently, Arcanys are bundled up on their side of the map, and they're probably just going to transition this into a tier 2 tower push. Still 2 minutes left on the Aegis, on the anti-mage. So there's no real reason to not go for this. Even if Kyo dies, that's exactly what the Aegis is there for, to go for these riskier plays. But even then, it's not too risky, especially if they catch out somebody like Heinrich. If they can find out this Meepo, it could be huge. But either way, eventually they're going to be leading the charge, maybe bumping into a handful of enemy heroes. Goose from Heinrich is going to drop himself up towards top of the anti-mage is pursuing as well. Hold up the air, and he dies back down on the ground. They're just going to get down too quickly. He drops in a heartbeat. My goodness, that Meepo did not stand a chance. Fox in decent position for Ravage, but his ink is being canceled. They look for the Thunder. Fuel comes from the backline. He might lose pages here, but that's probably exactly what he wants. Dropping down Pride Butterfly's low. Gets up the mana boy. He's still out. Pride Butterfly's tried. No, Rainfire Blast flying over the March. March dropping low. He will be swapped out to safety, even though the Rainfire Blast drops down to 40 HP. Mighty Saber, not enough mana to get off his own big hero. So laughing. My goodness, he's playing with the enemy team. Omni slashing with the backline. They'll obliterate the Tie Center. Again, nothing they can do. Go and scratch off the only way. Off the blue back, jumping in low ground. Blue box inside the ice path. And MVP are just running circles around Arcanys right now. Tier 2 tower is going to be their prime. They didn't even use the Aegis on Q up. It would have been absolutely suicidal. And ridiculous to be looking for that without the Aegis. But he could have gotten away with it. And that's the scary thing. Arcanys, they didn't and weren't able to use their ultimates at all. Like, Tidehunter, his positioning for the Ravage was okay, but the oh my goodness, it's called Static Field. Okay, it's not completely crazy. The Static Field was canceling his Soul Dagger, he wasn't able to jump in, and he was in the end too low. Zeus is not an answer. There's no pipe on Arcanys, there's no BKB, and Nico, even though he has that high base magic resistance, if you don't have a pipe, you don't have the Ravage box connected onto 3. QO's Aegis is still there, however, it's not. It rolls this so even wide. QO's Aegis now Black Hole can't play the Ice Master. He wins double elimination. Dropping the dropping to the Nepo space for the ball, but Breaking also going to lose this reincarnation and Stable up front, as well as the Ignite with healing words there. Typing is going to get down to that one out as best he can, but he's in the position now, and that's going to get his Tidehunter's life. Eventually, so flying upside butterflies, it's why Taylor's trying to do as best he can, and might be able to drop down E with a little bit of help from the Ogre Giant. It's going to be the end of his life. Reese dropping low. Might get a fairway cut last. It's going to eject. There is no spin on the Juggernaut right now, but Force Stabs are going to prove crucial for them. It's 2 for 2 trade and a high ground defense by Arcanys, but the fight leading up to that was so heavily in favor of MVP. It's really hard to call that a win, but I suppose it is slight experience when it's like gold win for their team. Nepo's not really collecting that big, but he is going to be on his way towards a point stacker soon. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Soul casting does get onto the throat a little bit, especially this early in the morning. Reason he's looking for an Omni Slash. He's isolated Iron Ridge. I don't think that's going to be enough damage, even if he gets the full Omni Slash. It is Aghanim'd up. I think it would be close, but not close enough. Racing on the other hand, he's going to get Omni down. And even though Flame Bell doesn't actually bother the Juggernaut, that's going to be an easy kill. He puts a little too much on the TP, or rather, spin TP. Is going to keep the Juggernaut safe, even though Heinrich was traveling. And just a little too late on the trigger, even if he was there. Juggernaut probably would have been just fine. Physical damage from Nepo is good, but not as good as the damage from Poof and Geostrive. Anti-Mage now completing up that Mantis style is going to be doing quite a lot of work inside these team fights. If he wasn't already, Geo's been having a pretty darn good game. Not farming as fast as the Meepo, but he hasn't died as much as the Meepo. And he's got more kills than the Meepo, so that's why Kyo is currently sitting on top of it, just being able to abuse the map very effectively. In Arcanys right now, they rely entirely on Iron Ridge, and, well, as I say that, my goodness, Vengeful Spirit's going to die inside the jungle. Rip that. Not much you can do there, especially if you know that anybody just swap through, and if you swap anybody, they're going to die, so probably not even worth it to begin with. And also MVP getting up a gem for themselves is going to seize map control away from Arcanys. Right now, the game plan for Arcanys is to wait for the Black Hole cooldown and the Ravage cooldown and hope for the best. They need Heinrich to be an absolute beast in the next team fight. With Blink Dagger as well as Aghanim Scepter, he definitely can be, but is it going to be enough? I think only time will tell. MVP, they don't have the BKB on the anti-mage, so he is killable, as we saw in that last engagement, even after the Aghanim Aegis was procced. So we'll just have to see. Hopefully I'll be joined by somebody else for game 2. Gus is going to fly the way to the anti-mage, but not much else after that. We kind of stalled out, and that's not to be unexpected, but, I mean, if you just look, that cluster of wins for MVP on either metric, it really does show inside the graph, 7,500, 5,000 in their favor. Roshan's going to respawn in 2.5 minutes. Let's see what that respawn time is. It's actually a pretty long one. I think that favors Arcanys, but if they win this next fight convincingly, maybe it doesn't even do that. Scope is going to be rocked on the March, but just the psychological pressure of nothing they may not be able to see. It's pretty significant. I like that they use the smoke for the high ground push, even if it's not actually going to be that impactful. I'm doing this on the Chikira. It's going to mean that Liquid Fire doesn't actually attack that tower, which is unfortunate. They're losing a mid-tier 2, in the meantime, as Meepo is able to knock that one down. MVP have committed everybody towards this mid lane, but if they're able to catch out, that Meepo could have been used. Right now, it's going to raise on last, throw down 5, raise King. But Neil Scepter is going to disjoint that and pronounce the slow and good. And before the Anchors is favoring Arcanys since they can afford to drop Meepo every which way. They have 2 Meepos down towards bot, Meepo in mid, Meepo in the jungle, Meepo in the base. Scratch that, no Meepo in the base, but push the travel on the Meepo so he can get to the base quickly. They'll force that forward, looking for the Ravage opportunity. It's just going to be Gus and Reason. Sorry about that. Pretty good. Ice Path is going to help the retreat of the Juggernaut. It looks like he's going to be able to run out to safety as they don't want to commit anything further. They are going to ping out Trev, but also very fast. But they're going to get the Ravage. He's going to fly through. A little bit too late to get the Blink Dagger on block. Ice Path lands on the 3, and even the hit skills. I'm not sure if that's really worth it. The hero is without buyback, so maybe that is, but it's Ravage for just one place. Even though connected on the 2, they have to pay quite a bit for that. Yeah, I not sure they're going to be able to do enough with this kill. Juggernaut forced a TP out. He does have his men, doesn't use it. Doesn't matter either. Season moving back towards base. I think the best they can hope for is a tier 2 tower up towards the top. Pushing power from Evo definitely is pretty strong, but then you have to look at bottom. Q is currently still pushing that out as fast as he can, and he's doing a pretty good job of that. His man is now tier 3 towers going to be dropped low. Heinrich's going in out. Actually, Evo can't look out. He's screwed. He gets the mana void off. But my goodness, anti-mage. Didn't expect that. Where did Evo actually lose to travel to? I think it was over to like this high. I played really well played by the Evo, and anti-mage just wasn't expecting it. Evo can be everywhere and nowhere at the same time, so you do have to respect that, I suppose. Honestly, I didn't think he'd be punished for that. Interesting choice by the Evo, actually. I'm going to go for a pretty late Trunks. I do like that he's building up these stats, and right now Arcanys, they need to fight. They have the ultimate orb as well as Drums on Evo. He's incredibly strong, as we've already seen. BKB is mandatory for ATH. He really, really, really needs it. So that doesn't happen. Worst case scenario is forced to BKB TV out there, but even so, 121 damage on each of these meeps. Multiply that by 5. That's a lot of physical damage coming through. And slow that goes through BKB, although the Geostrike's not going to be doing damage. It's still quite significant. But working towards this refresher now is Arcanys finding themselves a new lease on life as ATH gives his life daily in the bottom lane. Really nothing super interesting happening on the map except for Heinrich. I could watch Evo all day and just watch his farming patterns. I quite like playing Evo myself, even though I'm a Crusade scrub. It doesn't really matter. Because he's just a barrel of fun. He's a stressful barrel of fun, don't get me wrong. Just having to control so many units, but you feel like a baller if you ever come out in a team fight on top. Right now, the Roshan is going to respawn up more MVP, and with the minus armor as well as Supercar slowing down Roshan for speed. We've already seen they've been able to take it very easily. Even if they see that they have a healing ward, but with the blast on Duo, it doesn't actually matter. That's going to be another just a second chance to take some fights in their turn. So go top of the Necro book. There was some the fight here. Excuse me, Heinrich. He's going in on the Duo. Why is he doing it? The education that he doesn't even drop low. No mana can't get him to the black hole. Now, Bright Butterfly's also completely dry. Hero is completely going down. Heinrich on the sideline. Nature is going to keep March safe, and that's a long range he's going to be backed onto him. As Brave keep fighting between too many and the Hero can't actually do anything. They're trying to drain his mana before he's off his ultimate, and they're going to get the so yes, Six Chargers and Trenchwich is not going to be enough that last attack, draining just enough. All they get is the Hero, and they force the fight back on the Meepo. They might actually lose Meepo here, too. The Omni Slash isn't available to Heinrich. He has to travel out with one of his Meepos now. He loses some of his sideline to travel, but now the blue side, he can't get his Meepo out. Heinrich, he's in a whole heap of trouble. There's not anything he can do. Down currently in the blender that is Juggernaut, and that's going to be a dieback on your Meepo. I don't know why Arcanys took that fight. Roshan fell. They do have good ultimates fight inside the Roshan pit, don't get me wrong. Ravage and Black Hole shine in those close quarters, but they didn't actually connect on much of anything. Anti-Mage wasn't even drop low. Like, Meepo was trying to focus him down, but Meepo, although he can go for a solo pickoff on the QO, when he has the backup coming out for the bench, his damage for MVP is immense, and right now Arcanys, they're on the back lines. If this was any other hero, I think they lose the game right now. But Meepo does have a reduced cooldown respawn timer at level 3. Quite the Q goes to be fired off and jumps out too. They do have a gun. Swap back on their Nitro. It's a full right. And Omni Slash doesn't provide there. And that's it for by Q. Striking man in my favor. Q might lose his life here. It looks like the Aegis is going to be down to 2. Negative first charge points away, but it's going to lose the Aegis. But in the same distance from the MVP. Blue step to run the DNA, but they have 9 times to follow through. Now Blue Box Roll, he's in trouble. He burns in the back of line. Raking going to the ultimate. This time it actually is able to drop off. With a vengeance to back up the boot. It is possible to take it. Kilo dropping low, but CKC hasn't even been needed to be pressed by Kilo. He can still stick around even though it's low. Has to deal with more backup and earn too. MVP throwing this game wide open. It's actually this will go down. Not much else you can talk about. Heinrich, that last fight was backbreaking. Nico is looking like he might have been able to come back in this game after the pick up on the AS, but Arcanys, their team is just so volatile. That is the risk you run whenever you pick a Meepo. He is a hero that, although he can snowball completely out of control, he commands the game. If he doesn't get off to a snowballing start, he dies straight. Going up for the top, and he's down. He doesn't have to be forced top here, but with swap, Ravage connects on. He's orienting into stage route on this. Touch base, BKB pop, Kobe drops the mana boy, Black Wolf can't fight in. Dropping Kobe, Kobe closes faster, as they go down. No, the other side, she killed off too. Double kill for reason, blink forward onto the side after that, so GG. And a good game for that. Dropping low as well, with the early gap, Fox goes exposed, and now Mighty Saber wants a piece of that too. They're both sides before he actually finds the dust. Thanks for watching. I've been Brandon C here on TV2. Giving a little bit of coverage of the I-League #2 Southeast Asian qualifiers. I've been here on Tempo TV, and if you like the casting, you can follow us on Tempo TV at Twitter, Facebook, and here on Twitch. Hopefully, I'll be joined by a co-cast for game #2, but that's coming up shortly, so don't go anywhere. We'll have more Dota really